Confederation of African Football's highly anticipated African Cup of Nations 2023 is set to kick off on January 13, 2024, in the Ivory Coast, where the continent's biggest stars are expected to shine after an impressive showing for their respected clubs and the Qatar World Cup 2022. Matches will be held at 6 stadiums across 5 cities. The African Cup of Nations takes place in Ivory Coast for a second time. I'm sure you must be wondering how the grouping works, right? The origin of the African Nations Cup dates from June 1956, when the creation of the Confederation of African Football was proposed during the Third FIFA Congress in Lisbon. There were immediate plans for a continental tournament to be held, and in February 1957, the first Africa Cup of Nations was held in Khartoum, Sudan. The first tournament had only 3 participating nations: Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia. South Africa was initially scheduled to join but was disqualified due to the apartheid policies. Since 1968, it has been held every 2 years, switching to odd-numbered years in the year 2013. The qualification phase has evolved over time, according to the increasing number of nations affiliated to the Confederation of African Football, also known as CAF. The number of participants in the final tournament reached 16 in 1996, but Nigeria withdrew, reducing the number of teams to 15, and the same happened with Togo's withdrawal in the year 2010. Throughout the Africa Cup of Nations history, 3 trophies have been awarded to the competition winners. The original silver trophy was the Abdelaziz Abdallah Salem Trophy, named after the first CAF president, Egyptian's Abdelaziz Abdallah Salem. As the first winner of 3 Africa Cup of Nations tournaments, Ghana obtained the right to permanently hold the trophy in the year 1978. The second trophy was awarded from year 1980 to 2000 and was named Trophy of African Unity, or African Unity Cup. It was given to CAF by the Supreme Council for Sports in Africa before the 1980 tournament, and it was a cylindrical piece with the Olympic rings over a map of the continent engraved on it. It sat on a squared base and had stylized triangular handles. Cameroon won the Unity Cup indefinitely after they became 3-time champions in 2000. The third trophy, a gold-plated cup designed and made in Italy, has been won by Cameroon and Egypt. Cameroon is a permanent holder of this trophy, and they were the first nation to be awarded the new trophy after they won the 2002 edition. Egypt won the gold-plated cup indefinitely after they became 3-time champions in 2010. Unlike previous winners who would have then taken the trophy home, Egypt were presented with a unique, full-sized replica that they were allowed to keep. The winner of each edition receives a replica whose dimensions are equal to that of the original trophy. Reafat Atia scored the first AFCON tournament goal. Egypt won the first AFCON tournament in 1957. The AFCON winners we have had so far include Egypt, they have won 7 titles. Cameroon has won the title 5 times. Ghana has lifted the trophy on 4 occasions. Nigeria has claimed the title 3 times. The Democratic Republic of Congo and Ivory Coast both won the title twice each. Cameroonian striker Samuel Eto'o is the overall Cup of Nations scorer, notching 18 goals in 6 tournaments between the year 2000 and 2010. The 2023 AFCON will be the 34th edition of the tournament since the first one was held in 1957. The AFCON has been expanded from a 16-team tournament, which it has been since 1996, to a 24-team event in the year 2019. Egypt's Hassan El Shazli is the only player to have scored multiple hat-tricks at the Africa Cup of Nations, doing so in 1963 and 1970. 2 persons, Egypt's Mahmoud El Gohari in 1959 as player and 1998 as coach, and Stephen Keshi of Nigeria in 1994 as player and 2013 as coach, have won the AFCON as both a player and coach, respectively. 44 different African nations have participated in the AFCON. Egypt in 1957, Ghana in 1963, and South Africa in 1996 are the only teams to have won the tournament in their debut appearances. Each winner of the last 25 tournament editions from 1974 has qualified for the current edition of the finals. The Confederation of African Football's highly anticipated African Cup of Nations 2023 is set to kick off on January 13, 2024, in the Ivory Coast, where the continent's biggest stars are expected to shine after an impressive showing for their respected clubs and the Qatar World Cup 2022. Matches will be held at 6 stadiums across 5 cities. The African Cup of Nations takes place in Ivory Coast for a second time. I'm sure you must be wondering how the grouping works, right? Well, only the hosts received an automatic qualification spot, with the other 23 teams qualifying through a qualification tournament. At the finals, the 24 teams were drawn into 6 groups of 4 teams each. The teams in each group played a single round robin. After the group stage, the top 2 teams and the 4 best third-place teams advanced to the round of 16. The winners advanced to the quarterfinals. The quarterfinal winners advanced to the semifinals. The losers of the semifinals played in a third-place playoff, while winners of the semifinals played in the final. The top 2 teams in each group and the 4 best-ranked third-place teams will advance to the last 16. The bottom teams and the 2 worst-ranked third-place teams in each group will be eliminated from the tournament. This table visually explains the grouping. Here's what the winner of 2023 AFCON will get. There will be a 40% increase in the prize money for the winners of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. The winners of the latest edition in Ivory Coast will receive £5.5 million. The runners-up will get £3.165 million, with each of the 2 semi-finalists receiving £1.979 million, and the 4 quarter-finalists takes £1,029,000 each. And this wraps up our documentary on the origin of the African Cup of Nations. Stay updated with exciting documentaries around the world of sport, only on the Best of the Best Sports Show channel. See you on the next one.